Hello, friends, and welcome to Sleep Tight Stories. This story is about a baker named Willie. Willie loves to bake, and Mondays are his favorite day of the week. When Willie is on his way to work, he meets lots of his friends and talks to them as they head on their way to work. At the end of the day, as Willie is tidying up, his phone rings and one of his friends needs help. Will Willie be able to help them? Willie bakes a birthday cake. The sun had just started to rise, and Willie was up whistling and hopping about, getting ready to start his day. Willie loved Mondays. He loved Mondays more than any day of the week, especially Saturdays and Sundays, which seems strange to some people because the weekend was, for them, a time to rest, play, and the time that they had the most fun. But not Willie. In fact, Willie got so excited when Sunday night came, he had to work super hard to get to sleep. He would try to meditate, do deep breathing exercises, and listen to stories for hours, just so he could calm down enough to have a good night's sleep. Willie was a baker, and he loved baking bread more than anything else in the world. It's all he had ever wanted to do. And now that he had his very own bakery, he was more excited about baking than ever. Willie prepared his breakfast of blueberries, strawberries, and oatmeal, and sat at his kitchen table trying to eat as slowly as he could. On Mondays, he often had a bad habit of eating too quickly, which his friend, Dr. Kelly, told him was not a good habit to have. This way, he could also better appreciate the fresh fruit that he was eating. Willie loved strawberries, and he would have them for breakfast, at lunch with his salad, and for dessert at supper. After he finished his breakfast and washed his dishes, got his shoes on, pulled on his reflective jacket as it was still dark outside, left his small house, and started skipping to work. On Mondays, Willie was so happy he didn't walk. He skipped. This worked out well for him because his legs were a little short, so skipping not only made him happy, it made him faster. Though it was very early in the morning, Willie would often meet people on the way to their work, and most people were very friendly and would say hello. Maybe they loved Mondays too. "Good morning, Willie," Teresa said as she was waiting for her bus. "Good morning, Teresa. Be sure to drop by later for some croissants," replied Willie. "I'll be there right after work," she said with a smile. As Willie continued on his way, he met Thomas, one of his favorite customers. "I'll be by your shop a bit later to get some buns and things," Thomas said. "I'll see you then," replied Willie, as he kept on skipping on the sidewalk towards his bakery. As he turned the corner to the street that his bakery was on, he met his good friend Esther, who was a police officer. "Good morning, Esther," he said. "You are up early this morning." "I'm actually just on my way home," she replied, "but I will be by later to get some treats and maybe some of your delicious chocolate bread." "It will be fresh out of the oven soon," Willie said as he kept on skipping. And finally, just before he arrived at his shop, he met Freya, who was just opening her coffee shop. Freya and Willie got along really well because they both had a lot in common. And what better way to enjoy your baked bread and treats than with a hot drink? "Good morning, Willie. It's a super day," Freya said with a big smile. "Good morning, Freya. It certainly is. I'll bring you over a cup of hot cocoa later. Can you save me some of your delicious cinnamon buns?" she asked. "I sure can. I'll talk to you later. Have a great morning," Willie said as he walked into his bakery and started his day's work. Before he starts to make bread, Willie checks his task list, and up first is the cleaning of all the surfaces of his kitchen. It's his least favorite part of the day, but it's important to keep his kitchen clean. Then Willie prepares the croissant dough. It sometimes seems to Willie that he spends his entire day around dough. He kneads it, smells it, touches it, and tastes it. And sometimes he even talks to it. He thinks that just like when you talk to plants, they become happier, talking to the dough makes the bread taste better. Dough is one of Willie's best friends. After the croissants, he needs to make loaves and loaves of all kinds of bread. There is white bread, whole wheat bread, multigrain, and even chocolate and banana bread. Then Willie prepares his treats. His favorite is cinnamon rolls, but he also makes lemon poppy seed muffins, brownies, and chocolate chip cookies. A few hours later, his work for the morning was done, and just before he opened the door to welcome his customers, Freya came in with a hot cocoa and they sat, had a cinnamon roll for a snack, and chatted a few moments before their customers arrived. Willie's bakery was very popular with people, not just in his neighborhood, but all around the city. People would come from far and wide to buy a loaf of his bread. This, of course, made Willie very happy. The day went by quickly with customers lining up to buy his bread and tasty baked goods. The lineups were sometimes long, but people were patient, and Willie was so happy that he couldn't help but smile. Esther came and bought a loaf of chocolate bread and some muffins. Thomas came and bought some buns, a couple loaves of bread, and a few cinnamon rolls. And at the end of the day, Teresa came by to get her croissants, which Willie had set aside for her. Willie's day was just about finished. After cleaning up and preparing for tomorrow, all that was left was taking any leftover bread to a local charity nearby, so that those who needed help could enjoy his tasty and nutritious bread. Just as he was about to be finished, his phone rang. "Hello, this is Willie's Bakery. Willie speaking." "Hi, Willie, this is Chantal." "Hi, Chantal. How have you been?" he asked. Chantal and Willie went to school together, but they haven't had a chance to talk in a long, long time. "I've been very well, thank you. I'm afraid I have a favor to ask. I baked a cake for my son Ewan's birthday and, well, I thought it turned out okay, but when I just checked it, it was as flat as a pancake. I don't know what happened. I guess I'm not as good of a baker as I thought," she said sadly. "Oh, that's too bad. How can I help?" "I know it's late, but is it possible for you to prepare a cake at the last minute? I know you don't sell cakes in your shop, or I would have been there already. But do you think you could try to make one with such short notice?" she asked. "Sure, I'll try to make something for Ewan's birthday. I don't make cakes often, I'm afraid, and with what little time we have, it will be a simple one, but I hope he likes it." "Thank you, Willie. I am sure he will love it." After they said their goodbyes, Willie started working immediately, gathering and preparing all the ingredients. He had flour, eggs, butter, sugar, salt, and some milk. He found some candy sprinkles and, of course, some chocolate for the frosting. But as Willie started mixing, he realized he was missing an ingredient. "Oh no," he said out loud. He had run out of baking powder. Without baking powder, he couldn't bake the cake. "How could I have run out?" he thought. Then he glanced at his task list that he had on the kitchen wall. The last item on the list was to buy baking powder. Oh, he forgot. What was he going to do? He couldn't leave his shop, especially not with all the ingredients ready to be mixed. After a few moments, he realized what he needed to do. He would do exactly what Chantal did when she had a big problem: ask a friend for help. So Willie quickly called Esther. "Hello, Esther, this is Willie. I'm in a bit of a pickle and could use your help." "Hi, Willie, what's up?" "I've run out of baking powder, and I need to bake a cake for a birthday this evening. I can't leave the shop and, well, I really hope to make his birthday a special one." "Well, I have some baking powder here at my house I could give you. How about I hop on my bike and take it over to you?" "Could you?" he asked. "Of course. Anything for a friend," she replied. Esther arrived a short time later, and Willie immediately mixed the final ingredients together and put the cake in the oven. "Phew, thank you, Esther. You are a birthday cake saver." "My pleasure, Willie. Just make sure you save me some of that chocolate bread next week," she said with a laugh. After the cake cooled, Willie decorated the cake with chocolate frosting and candy sprinkles and stood back to examine his work. Satisfied, he called Chantal, and she came to pick up the cake, thanking him for saving Ewan's birthday party. When Willie was home eating his dinner, his phone dinged. It was a message from Chantal with a picture of her son Ewan smiling as he blew out the candles on his birthday cake. The birthday party was a huge success. With a big smile on his face, Willie had a soapy bath, brushed his teeth, and went to bed with his favorite stuffed toy. What a wonderful Monday it was, he thought. And that's the end of our story. Good night. Sleep tight.